Do you think you're too busy to make sourdough bread? I get it, life can get really full. However, in this video, I'm going to show you how it can be done. I'm going to show you 2 different types of bread that you can make even if you think you have no time to make sourdough bread. No complicated babysitting or steps or overly involved methods. No stress. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can get crusty, airy, light, perfectly smelling bread out of your oven today. The first bread I'm baking, I'm starting at 6 p.m. the night before I want to have it. And I love making it a multi-grain bread. It is my signature bread with einkorn and spelt and croissant. And I'm going to leave a link for those grains below because they're actually really good. I like to add some caraway seeds to it and some salt. This is a German whole grain bread. And here I have some whey that I feel like adding because I made some quark. And then here's my super active sourdough starter. This recipe I love because it is very beginner friendly. You do not really measure. I mean, I don't measure anything at this point. I'm eyeballing. I'm also eyeballing the amount of water. If you follow my recipe, I'm going to give you the best approximations that I can get, but it depends a little bit on how fine or coarse you mill your grains. And also know that whole grains will soak up a lot more water, so you want your dough to be a little softer in the beginning than after a while. At 10 p.m. before I'm going to go to bed, and I'm already in my pajamas here, I'm lining a loaf pan with parchment paper. Sometimes I do that and sometimes I don't. And because I like to make this a multi-grain bread, I'm adding sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds to make it a little bit more crunchy and a little bit more like the German types of whole grain breads that I am used to and love so much. As you can see, this is a really heavy dough that I am transferring to the loaf pan right now. And I sometimes, switch back and forth between using parchment paper. It makes cleanup so easy, and oiling, greasing, and flouring the loaf pan. Because it's cool, I let that sit in the kitchen overnight. You can also put it in the refrigerator. And at 7 in the morning, when I get up, before I even brush my teeth, before I do anything else, I bake it in the oven. And it takes about 90 minutes. And then I take it out pretty much when I am done with breakfast, or depending on what you do before breakfast. And here it is. It is a very hearty, dense bread. It's a little early to cut it, but I wanted you guys to see it. And that's why I'm showing it to you here in this video. For my next bread that is a little bit more involved, I'm starting in the afternoon. It could be 5 p.m., it could be 6 p.m., it doesn't really matter so much, or even 6 p.m. And for this one, you want your sourdough starter to be even more active because this is a little bit more of a precise recipe that I would like you to follow. And it's my olive oil bread, and I'm weighing out all the ingredients rather than just eyeballing it and winging it. Here goes the olive oil. It adds a little softness and extra flavor to the crumb, and I think it's a winner, and I like to always add it. I like to use hard white wheat because it has a higher gluten protein content and is really well suited for making breads. And because I don't like my lighter breads to be completely white, I always add a little bit of fresh ground, very finely ground whole wheat flour. Then I'm weighing out my white flour. You can just use any regular, if you use bread flour, that can also work really well, but I just use the regular AP flour that we get from Costco, in fact. And that goes into my bowl here. Then I'm adding my salt, and again, you want to weigh your salt because different salts, believe it or not, have different weights, and just go by volume can be a little bit inaccurate, and you don't want your bread to be too salty. Then I'm mixing it up. You can do this by hand. I know it likes to get really sticky to your hands, and this dough, even when you're done mixing it, will be very sticky. Don't be alarmed. Do not be tempted to add a little bit more flour because it's going to make your bread a lot drier and also heavier, and it will not rise quite as well. After half an hour, I do my first set of stretch and folds, and this is what I'm doing right here. We're going to do 4 altogether. You're only going to see 3 here in this video, but every time it will actually look a little bit better. I watch a TV series in between stretch and folds sometimes, not all the times. You can let me know your best guess what that might be. And sometimes I empty my dishwasher in between. You could make dinner and then do another set of stretch and folds. They always last about half an hour, but they don't have to be super precise. You can also do 35 minutes or 40 minutes or 20 minutes. You can also eat dinner. You can go for a walk. There's a lot of little things you can do in 30 minutes. Check your emails, tuck your kids into bed, what have you. Just get creative and use that time wisely for your 4 stretch and folds. Then I let my bread sit for another hour, and right before I'm going to go to bed, I am going to do the most important part here of this sourdough boule, which it essentially is, and that is shaping the bread. I feel like this is the most important piece. Well, maybe next to the stretch and folds, and that's why I'm going to show it to you in its entirety. My dough has become very the gluten has become very active, so it's not sticky. Well, it is a little bit sticky, but it's holding its shape, and you can see that the gluten structure has really activated and has been forming. I want to stretch it out as much as I can. This will help the airiness and the holds and the lofty crumb that we're all after. And you can stretch this as much as you can. This is also a really good test to see how well developed your gluten is, because the better it is, the less it will tear. And then I fold it over in thirds and roll it up just like you're watching here, with the sides folding in, because I'm trying to create as much surface tension as I can. And this is why I'm also doing this sort of pulling towards me and turning a quarter turn to create that outer surface tension that will maintain the bread's shape, maintain the dome shape, and make sure that you get a really good crust. And if you score the crust, then you should get a really nice ear if that's what you're after. You might have to pinch it together on the bottom. The more the better, because then it will maintain that surface tension. Over here I have an oval banneton, because I'm also going to show you my oval bread Dutch oven, if you will, and I'm going to put that in there. Now, the longer you let the bread rise, the sourer it will be, and the shorter, the less sour, the more mellow your bread will be. And this is going to go in the fridge it can go in there for 12 hours and maybe even 16 hours, depending on how sour you like it. I always love to preheat my Dutch oven for at least 45 minutes at 450 or 500 degrees. And this is a tricky moment, making sure that the loaf goes right into, but I did it, it worked. And I forgot to pull out my bread lame, so I'm just using a sharp kitchen knife to score it. It just makes the crust look nice and allows it to open rather than just crack in random places. But either way, you can do that if you like or not, or you can use a bread lame. And this is in the next afternoon. This could be 6 p.m. You could do this right before you're cooking dinner. And the first baking here with the lid is going to be about half an hour. For this smaller bread, I could probably have gotten away with maybe 20 minutes. And then let's see what it looks like after I did it for 30 minutes. Let's see what it looks like. I'm liking it. It has risen nicely. It has cracked. The scoring worked. And then it goes back into the hot oven for another probably 20, 25 minutes would have been fine. But it is nice and brown, and you do want to remove it as quickly as you can and let it cool on a wire rack before you cut it. It's very tempting to want to cut it before because it smells so good. And now I'm going to show you what it looks like on the inside. I hope that you feel inspired, even if you think that you are too busy to bake sourdough breads. I hope I was able to show you that it can be done. Let me know if you have questions and comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.